Before we say anything, listen.
Nothing.
That's it. The first truth of space. No air, no sound. Just a canvas so quiet it swallows thunder.
In space, even a scream is a mime. Sound needs air, water, or something to wiggle through. Out there, only silence and light.
So how do we hear the universe?
We don't. We translate it. Radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, cosmic messages we catch with antennas and turn into songs for human ears.
The universe writes in waves, and we read it like music.
Exactly.
Okay, hook set. Now the first whoa moment.
Brace yourself.
I'm holding on.
There are more stars in the observable universe than grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth.
That comparison always fries my brain. Like all the beaches?
Every coastline, every desert dune you've ever seen in a documentary, all of it, and the stars still win.
Billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars. You're telling me the night sky is basically a glitter ocean with no shore.
And each of those stars could have worlds. Oceans you've never sailed, skies you've never breathed, stories not yet told.
There's comfort in that, to be small in a beautiful way.
Small isn't the opposite of important.
I'll stitch that on a patch for my jacket. All right, hit me with another mind bend.
Venus.
Our morning star, hotter than a pizza oven left on broil, covered in clouds that would melt your face off. That Venus?
The very one. Here's the twist. On Venus, a day is longer than a year.
Wait, what?
Venus spins so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to rotate once. It's day, but it orbits the Sun in roughly 225 Earth days. It's year.
So, you'd celebrate your birthday before you finished one Venusian day at work.
Assuming your office can handle volcanic plains and sulfuric acid clouds, yes.
HR would not approve the commute. And it spins backward, right?
Retrograde rotation. The Sun would appear to rise in the west and set in the east. Venus makes the familiar unfamiliar.
Space loves doing that, taking what we know, twisting a single dial, and boom, new reality.
That's the game. Same physics, different parameter, wild outcomes.
Leaning forward, you said we'd go from silence to ripples. What does that even mean?
Gravitational waves. Imagine space itself as a vast, invisible fabric. When two black holes collide, they send out ripples in that fabric.
Like throwing a stone into a pond.
Exactly. Except the pond is the universe, and those ripples don't fade. They travel at the speed of light.
So we can actually hear the universe stretching and squeezing?
Not with our ears, with instruments like LIGO. In 2015, they caught the first signal. Two black holes dancing, colliding, and ringing space-time like a cosmic bell.
That's insane. The universe has its own music.
And we've only just learned how to listen.
Okay, that's wild. What's next?
The densest stuff you can imagine. A teaspoon of neutron star matter.
Don't tell me it's heavy.
Heavy doesn't even begin to cover it. 1 teaspoon would weigh about 10 million tons.
Wait, what?
The gravity on a neutron star is 100 billion times stronger than Earth's. Their magnetic fields are trillions of times more powerful. They're the corpses of giant stars, crushed into something smaller than a city.
That's terrifying and kind of beautiful. A whole star squeezed into something you could walk across in an afternoon.
If you could survive standing on it, which you couldn't.
All right, I need something less crushing. Give me water.
Funny you say that. Astronomers found a cloud of water vapor surrounding a quasar, with 140 trillion times more water than all of Earth's oceans.
Trillion? You're telling me there's a cosmic ocean just floating around?
Not floating like a sea. It's vapor spread across hundreds of light years. But yes, enough water to supply countless worlds.
So we're sitting here fighting over lakes and rivers, and the universe is hiding a water jackpot around a black hole.
Exactly. The universe has resources beyond imagining.
Okay, stars, waves, water. But tell me, are we really that special? Do most stars actually get planets, or is Earth just a rare lottery win?
On average, every star you see has at least one planet.
You mean all of them?
At least one. And about 1 in 5 sun-like stars has an Earth-sized planet in the habitable zone.
That means there could be billions of Earths.
Billions of chances for life. Some may be barren, some may be thriving, some may be looking back at us right now.
That thought gives me chills to know we're not just a lonely accident.
We're part of something vast and connected.
All right, I'm hooked. What's our next stop?
Diamonds, not in jewelry stores, whole planets made of them.
Okay, you said diamonds. You've got my attention.
There are planets out there, like 55 Cancri E, that are believed to be made largely of carbon. Under extreme pressure, that carbon turns into diamond.
Wait, an entire planet of diamond. That's like the ultimate engagement ring.
If you could afford the trip and the fireproof suit.
So you're telling me somewhere out there is a giant, glittering jewel world?
And it gets better. About 50 light years away, there's a crystallized white dwarf star, nicknamed Lucy. Its core is essentially a diamond, about 10 billion trillion carats.
Okay, that's it. Universe wins. We're living in a cosmic jewelry store.
The universe always wins.
But space isn't just pretty, is it? Some things are unsettling.
True. Look at Saturn. At its north pole spins a storm in the shape of a perfect hexagon.
A storm shaped like a hexagon. How?
It's a jet stream, about 20,000 miles across. Winds whipping at 300 miles per hour. Scientists think it's a standing wave pattern in Saturn's atmosphere. We've even recreated it in fluid experiments here on Earth.
A storm that's lasted for decades and looks like a giant stop sign in the sky. That's creepy.
Beautiful and creepy.
Okay, tell me something bigger. Something universe-sized.
About 95% of the universe is invisible.
You mean what?
Only about 5% is normal matter, the stuff we're made of. The rest, 27% is dark matter, and 68% is dark energy.
So, everything we see, stars, planets, galaxies, it's basically the rounding error?
Exactly. Most of the universe is hidden, and we still don't know what it really is.
That's both terrifying and humbling.
The unknown is part of the adventure.
All right. Bring me back closer to home. Something I can wrap my brain around.
How about this? If you drove a car straight up at highway speed, say 60 miles per hour, you'd reach space in about an hour.
No way.
The official boundary, called the Kármán line, is only 62 miles above Earth, barely a road trip away.
That's comforting. The cosmos feels unreachable, but space itself starts just above the clouds.
Exactly. The universe isn't far away. It begins just past your breath.
I'll never look at the sky the same again.
Good, because where we're going next is stranger than anything yet.
Stranger than diamond planets and hexagon storms?
Stranger. We're going to talk about the smell of space, the fastest spacecraft ever built, mountains taller than Everest, and black holes heavier than 36 billion suns.
Okay, I'm ready. All right, you promised me something even stranger. What does space smell like?
Astronauts say the scent clings to their suits after spacewalks. They describe it as seared steak, hot metal, even welding fumes.
So space smells like a burnt barbecue.
More like the aftertaste of dying stars. It's the aroma of high-energy particles colliding in a vacuum.
Wow. Even smell becomes cosmic poetry.
And while we're near the sun, imagine moving faster than anything built by humans. The Parker Solar Probe is the fastest spacecraft ever. It slingshots around the sun at over 430,000 miles per hour.
That's nearly 500,000 miles an hour.
At that speed, you could fly from New York to Tokyo in less than a minute.
Okay, that's officially ridiculous.
Ridiculous and real.
And what about mountains? Earth has Everest. What's the universe got?
On Mars towers Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the solar system, about 3 times the height of Everest and as wide as the state of Arizona.
A volcano the size of a state?
If you stood on its slopes, you might not even realize you were on a mountain. The curve is that gentle.
That's unreal.
Unreal. Like this. The largest black hole ever measured, Ton 618, weighs the mass of more than 36 billion suns.
That number doesn't even make sense.
It's a gravity well so monstrous, it bends imagination. Light itself bows before it.
Gives me chills.
And yet, storms can be just as haunting. Recently, astronomers spotted thunderstorms on Jupiter, wider than Earth itself, spewing eerie green lightning into the void.
Storms, bigger than our whole planet, and glowing green? That's straight out of science fiction.
But it's science fact.
Okay, I need one last mind bender. End this with a knockout.
The giant arc, a structure in deep space stretching over 3.3 billion light-years. It shouldn't even exist according to our current understanding.
3.3 billion light years? That's beyond comprehension.
Exactly. It defies the rules. It whispers that the cosmos is bigger, stranger, and more connected than we can yet imagine.
So, we end where we began, with silence. But now it's a silence filled with meaning.
A silence that holds stars, waves, diamonds, storms, and mysteries still unnamed.
And we're just 2 voices trying to tell its story.
Look up tonight. The universe isn't far away. It begins just above your breath.